What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, as many of you guys may already know, I am going to Europe next April, and I am super, super, super excited. Hopefully, nothing bad happens to where they close the borders and say we can't come. That is pretty much my worst fear right now. And then I come across this video. Why American tourists are being rejected worldwide in 2025. And I thought, damn. Nothing things could change, but if America keeps up their shit stuff, it's just gonna get worse. So, uh, let's check it out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to check out this channel here. It is
They're treated differently
oops,
abroad
the Informed Traveler. So, let's check it out.
and not in a good way? That number says more than you'd think. They're noticing colder service, awkward questions, and in some cases, outright hostility. From protests outside the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City to a wave of anti-American sentiment across Europe and beyond, to subtle pushback in cafes and shops around the world, something has shifted. American tourists, once welcomed almost everywhere, are now facing a growing wave of resentment. So what's really driving this backlash, and why is it getting worse in 2025? In this video, we're breaking down 6 real reasons the world is growing tired of US tourists, and what needs to change before it gets even worse.
They're finally sick of us.
But before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe, because this isn't just a travel video. It's a reality check for anyone who thinks an American passport still guarantees a warm welcome. In 2025, American tourists aren't just being noticed. They're being recorded, ridiculed, and shared online. From Reddit to TikTok, tourist shaming has become a global pastime, and US travelers are often the stars. Entire threads
Yeah, because we are stupid.
are dedicated to moments where American visitors come across as loud, oblivious, or entitled.
Yeah?
One story describes an American parent at Stonehenge urging their child to go climb on the big rocks. Another recalled a woman in France asking if a group of medieval reenactors were Syrian refugees. And in a quiet spot in England, believed to be tied to the legend of King Arthur, an American tourist looked around and said, "Where's the goddamn castle?" It might sound like harmless culture shock, but online, these moments fuel something deeper. On Reddit and travel forums, locals and fellow travelers regularly vent about.
I mean, I understand being excited to see a castle. I've never seen a castle a day in my life in person. So I am super duper duper excited about it. But that's rude. That's so rude. Like, just be grateful and present in the moment.
Typical American tourists, snapping selfies at memorial sites, demanding English-only service, or ignoring basic etiquette. And all of it feeds into an old stereotype that's now gone viral again. The ugly American, loud, entitled, and culturally unaware. This isn't about one rude traveler or one awkward moment. It's about a global perception that's building, one post at a time. And in 2025, every overlooked misstep is a potential headline. For American tourists, the margin for error is shrinking, and the world is no longer looking the other way. The backlash against American tourists isn't just digital, it's happening in the streets. From Europe to Latin America, locals are organizing, marching, and making one thing clear: they've had enough.
Ooh.
Not just of tourism in general, but of the strain brought on by high-spending, high-impact travelers from the U.S. In Mexico City, protesters marched through Condesa and Roma, 2 neighborhoods flooded with American expats and remote workers. "Gringos, stop stealing our homes," they shouted as they rallied outside the U.S. Embassy. That same week, storefronts were vandalized and Airbnb listings were spray-painted with anti-American messages. What started as a housing crisis has turned into a cultural one, and American visitors are right at the center of it.
That is embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. I don't expect to go there and act a fool. I will be respectful in any way possible. But one dumb American ruins it for everybody. And then one dumb American turns into two dumb Americans, and so on and so forth. Uh,
And it's not just Mexico. In Spain, where over-tourism protests have become a near-weekly occurrence in cities like Barcelona and Mallorca, the U.S. Embassy issued a public alert to American citizens. The warning advised travelers to avoid large gatherings tied to anti-tourism sentiment and tensions related to the Middle East, two flashpoints where U.S. involvement is often front and center.
oh my
These
gosh.
aren't just isolated outbursts, they're coordinated, emotional, and increasingly common. And when embassies start issuing warnings, it's not just travel anymore. It's reputational fallout. For many American tourists, travel is about freedom. The freedom to explore, to speak English anywhere, to wear what you want, and to experience new cultures without changing your own habits. But in 2025, that mindset is creating real friction abroad. In Kyoto, Japan, local residents in the historic Gion district, known for its geisha traditions, implemented a ban on tourists entering certain alleys. The reason? Tourists, including many Americans, were harassing geishas for photos, filming without permission, and ignoring posted signs. After years of warnings, locals had enough. It's not an isolated case. From religious sites in Thailand to dress codes in the Middle East, stories keep surfacing about American visitors refusing to adapt.
I mean, and that's where it's at is you gotta be humble and willing to change and adapt to a different culture and a different way of life. Like that's crazy.
Tour guides report frustration with U.S. tourists who walk into temples with shoes on, wear revealing clothing in conservative areas, or treat sacred landmarks like photo ops. In Vietnam,
I really wanted to get a couple pictures of the castles. Don't be mad at me, guys.
one American was seen wearing a t-shirt covered in guns and the words, "Freedom, the American Way," while touring a museum that documents the devastation of the U.S.-led war. That moment, caught on camera, quickly became a symbol of cultural disconnect. These
Yeah.
clashes aren't always loud or aggressive. Often they're small moments of misunderstanding, but they leave lasting impressions. Because in many countries, the problem isn't that Americans show up. It's that they show up without listening. In 2025, American tourists
That is so true. And just imagine like how they act there is how they act here too. So it's all the time here. Crazy, I know.
are no longer just traveling. They're representing a country the world is rapidly losing faith in. In Canada, just 19% of people believe the US will have a positive influence on the world, a historic
Mm.
low for America's closest ally. In Germany, favorability has plunged since the 2024 election. And across Europe, the message is clear. More countries now view the US negatively than ever before. Even more shocking? According to the Democracy Perception Index, China is now viewed more favorably than the United States in most of the world, a reversal that would have been unthinkable just a few years
Really?
ago. These aren't just numbers, they're signals. And American tourists are caught in their shadow. Today, U.S. travelers are being advised to avoid political clothing, skip controversial topics, and even soften their accents in tense environments. Some are coached on how to respond to loaded questions abroad.
So do not act like an American. Check.
Others quietly claim they're Canadian, just to avoid uncomfortable conversations. Because in 2025,
Is that what we should do? Just say we're Canadian. Only the viewers will know that really that we're American.
saying you're American doesn't always spark curiosity. It can spark judgment or silence. Tourism used to be about where you're going. Now, for American visitors, it's just as much about what you're bringing with you, a reputation the world no longer overlooks. One of the clearest signs that the world is rethinking American tourism, it's showing up in visa rules. For decades, U.S. passport holders enjoyed near universal access. No paperwork, no questions, just a stamp and a smile. But now, countries are quietly rewriting the rules. Brazil, once visa-free for Americans, has reinstated entry requirements in 2025.
And as they should. I think we should all close up our borders and then pick who we want. Like, I really do. Everybody should stay protected and nobody, really crazy.
Across Europe, the long-delayed ETIAS
That's
system is
beautiful.
finally moving forward, forcing Americans to apply in advance just to visit. Even the UK, one of
Yeah.
America's oldest allies, now requires pre-authorization before entry. These aren't just technical updates. They're symbols of something deeper. The world's trust in American travelers is slipping. And that shift doesn't end with a form. U.S. tourists are reporting longer lines, extra screening, and more probing questions. Not about what's in their bags, but about what their presence means. Embassy warnings now urge Americans to avoid politically sensitive areas, not because they're unsafe for everyone, but because they might not be safe for you. Because in 2025, the borders haven't just changed on the map. They've changed in the way Americans are seen. And for travelers used to being waved through, the hesitation says everything. For years, locals adjusted.
That is so true. And the worst part is it's gonna just keep on getting worse.
They put up with rising prices, tourist menus, and foreign-owned Airbnbs, all in the name of economic growth. But in 2025, many feel they've reached a breaking point. In cities like Lisbon, Tulum, and Athens, entire neighborhoods were reshaped around the needs of American visitors. Family-run cafes turned into Instagram-friendly brunch spots. Markets replaced local goods with souvenirs. Long-term rentals vanished, replaced by short-term listings priced for remote workers from New York or LA. At first, it felt like opportunity. Now, it feels like erasure. Locals describe the shift as slow but relentless, their cities becoming more profitable as destinations than as communities. And while Americans may see charm, affordability, or escape, residents are seeing something else: displacement. Even those who depend on tourism feel conflicted. Yes, the dollars help. But the daily cost, in housing, culture, and identity, keeps rising.
Yeah, and that's something you gotta look into. Is it worth it? Is it really worth it? And is it safe? That is so beautiful.
And increasingly, the frustration is directed at those who can afford to visit, while locals struggle to stay. Because what used to feel like sharing a place now feels like losing it. And for many
Yeah.
around the world,
That's so
American
cool.
tourism isn't just changing neighborhoods. It's pushing people out of them. After everything we've seen, one thing is clear. The world isn't rejecting American tourists because they're American. It's rejecting the behaviors that come with them. And that means this story isn't finished. It can still change. Travelers today are being told to dress more modestly, avoid loud political conversations,
Well, obviously.
and leave the flag gear at home. But those are just surface-level fixes. The deeper shift is about attitude. It's about understanding that showing up with money isn't the same as showing up with respect. That not everything needs to be in English. That not every city wants to be a backdrop for content. And that listening, really listening, goes further than any travel tip ever will. The best travelers aren't
I mean, we will be doing a lot of videos in the Netherlands, so we will be using it as a video prop per se, but yeah, I think we'll be okay. I think that we'll, we won't cause any harm or any trouble.
the ones who act like guests at a resort. They're the ones who move through the world with awareness, not assumptions. In 2025, the global welcome is still there, but it's no longer unconditional. Americans who travel thoughtfully, who adapt, who engage with humility, they're still received with kindness. Because while the world may be tired of the stereotype, it's still open to the ones willing to travel with humility and without the stereotype. This video wasn't meant to
Yes.
shame, it was meant to observe a shift and ask why it's happening. Because how the world sees America is changing, and how it sees American tourists might just be the most visible symptom of that shift.
And you know what? It seems like uh here in April when we go to the Netherlands, I feel like if we are still able to go then like nothing's changed through the government or whatever, um that we won't have an opportunity like this much longer. It really does feel like everything's just closing up and getting stricter, and as it should be. I mean, it's getting into scary times, really scary times, but yeah, just I don't know. Hopefully we'll be able to go. That'll be pretty cool.
So the next time you travel, ask yourself, are you just passing through, or are you paying attention? If you've had a different experience abroad, better, worse, or unexpected, drop it in the comments.
Yeah,
We're reading everyone.
we are reading everyone. Yeah, let me know down in the comments too if you guys have any travel experiences. I know that watching things on TV and stuff is not healthy for me, being that I'm going to a different country, and then like just that thing that happened in America, that girl that got stabbed in the subway, and she was a Ukrainian refugee. Gosh, it's like, I mean, it could happen anywhere, but it's just like that kind of like, was she targeted? It is being speculated that it was targeted a little bit. Like, it does kind of make sense with a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, um yeah, how do you guys feel about this? Are you for tourists, American tourists coming to your country? Let me know down in the comments. Guys, don't please don't be afraid to leave a comment, anything you guys want. Um, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. I really appreciate you guys watching the videos. And I know I've been doing this for a minute and I should be a lot better than, I am, but I'm not. So there's that. And I do plan on getting better. So, with these reaction videos comes bigger and better things. So, yeah, God bless. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a good day. Bye, guys.